Hello and welcome to What the Fuck Am I Reading? This week I managed to finish 4 books, well, we could say like 3.5, but we'll talk about that one later. So the first book that I finished this week was We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle. I love this book. It wasn't a full 5-star book. It was, I gave it 4 stars. But see, this was so good. This was so good. I am so happy that I picked this book up. It's such an underrated book. Like, it's dark fantasy and it was amazing. But man, I like this. I like this a lot. We basically follow a occupation story. This tribe that used to be like really, it didn't cause any trouble basically. Came back with full armor, full magical powers. They basically annihilated the defenses of this empire in a couple of days, and they have now taken over all the cities basically with their new magic, and it's basically magic based on this dark god. They have their chosen, which also have like a different magic abilities. We have one that can teleport. We also have a dude that can basically heal himself and other people, and he's a torturer, and that is such an ingenious way to use his fucking powers. I loved it. It was so clever. But yeah, we actually have 5 POVs. In the last video I said 3 because those were the only ones that I had seen at that time. But we actually have 5. So we have Ren, who is this kind of child almost. He is part of this kind of resistance movement with his gang of little children. And he is basically causing mayhem. He even make like a woman suicide bomb herself to kill some of these Skull, who are like the nickname for the enemy. Then we have Jax, who is the actual leader of the resistance movement with what was left of the army, and is planning the escape of the royal family. Then we have Timstra, that's how you say her name, I believe. And she is one of the most interesting characters because she's actually a coward, and she's described as a coward throughout the whole book, and she actually does some really coward things, but also some brave ones, but it makes sense with her character, and I really like her. She used to be part of this elite type of soldier, and she was basically kicked out the day of the invasion, and she's basically trying to lay low, and you know, if she has to worship this new god, she will, like, she wants to save herself. And we also have Jazz, I believe. That's how you say her name, Jazz. She is basically the mother of this child, and she takes a job at the consular that is now occupied with these Skull soldiers, and she's, you know, kind of passing information to rebels. And who else do we have? And we also have a POV of one of the bad guys, who is this guy that I told you that can basically heal people. And it was cool. Like, he's so fucking he's just such a piece of shit, honestly. What a fucking douchebag. But yeah, it's a great mix of POVs. The characters are really, really different from one another. I kind of wanted to do like a full review of this book, honestly. Like, there's so much to unpack here. I really want to get book 2, but it's only available in the kind of gigantic size, and this edition is not coming out until later in the year, so I'm super pumped about that. But I might listen to the audiobook and then get the physical copy, but I really liked it. The ending got me wanting more. Like, I want more. Some characters had like some questionable endings, being just like, oh boy, what's going on? I'm just really, really happy that I grabbed this book. Like, Lena from the past deserves a little bit of a clap, at least, because what a taste she has. Like, what a taste she has. I'm super excited to continue this series, honestly. If you just like a dark fantasy in general, you will really like this. It's kind of in the slower side of books, but you know, I just don't mind that. I actually kind of sometimes prefer slow books, honestly. But yeah, so much character development in this book. So many grid wars got broken, and so many like more weird characters get their motivation straight throughout the book. It's just really intense and really interesting. Trigger warnings, a lot of them, honestly. It's dark fantasy, a lot of torture, body horror sometimes, but I just don't, a death, of course. I'm not sure if there's more, actually. But yeah, careful if you're quite sensitive, but I really like this one. I really like this one. The other book that I finished was Blackflame by Will White, which is book 3 in the Cradle series, and I give this one 5 stars because it was fantastic. Definitely the best one in the series yet. I love this. We basically follow Lena, and it picks right after the events of the second book. Ethan is the new character that appeared in book 2. I love him. He's such a cool character. I just want to see more of him, and I really hope that we get more in book 4, because after the ending of this book, I'm quite like, I'm sure he will show up, but I'm just like, is he going to appear as much as in this one? I don't know. But that ending got me gasping. I was just like, holy shit, this piece of shit. But so many things happen here. Like, it's also one of the longest books, I believe. 360 pages. The other two, I don't think even got into the 300 pages mark. So it's longer. There's a lot of training montages here. I love it. This is kind of a progression fantasy, and I just really like it. I just really like it. I also like the concept of the Blackflame. That was superb. I just want to know more. But yeah, there's so many things getting together here. Like, so many things are going on backstage, in front of everything. It's just like, I'm kind of confused, but I just need to know more. I have already ordered book 4, Skysworn, I believe. I just want to know more. Honestly, if I had the physical book here, I would be reading that. But boy, 5 stars. Like, I loved it. This is easily becoming one of my favorite series. Like, I just like it so much. Like, so much. It's really hard for me to talk spoilers about this, because even though they're in the same series, this book is quite different from the other two, and I just really liked it. I wish I could talk a little bit more in depth about it, but I just don't want to spoil anything, and it's a 3rd book in a series. But yeah, I highly recommend the Cradle series. It's just so cool. Then, because I wanted something like horror-y, I read Nightfall by Daniel Barnett, and I quite enjoyed this. My only complaint is it's a little bit short. I just prefer gigantic tomes. I'm just like that. I prefer a longer, like a chunker book over a novella, but I quite like it, and I'm also quite excited to read the second one and to read the other one. There's also a 4th book coming out, I believe. The premise of this is that we're going to follow John, and one day the sun doesn't come out. That's it. It's perpetual nightfall. And the concept is great, but the creepy execution was everything. Honestly, I love the creepiness of this book. I think it was the best part. Like, it was so creepy, like so creepy. I just cannot believe a world of eternal darkness. People are starting to kind of lose their minds. Some others are not affected, and some others are just completely lost. And it's just so cool. Like, I really like this, honestly. I just wish it was longer. I love these kind of horror, fantastical elements mixed with reality. It's just a great balance, you know, because this is really rooted in reality, but then we have this, and people are starting to freak out and have this kind of weird, kind of daytime nightmares, if we can call it that, without a sun. But it's great. I like the ending quite a lot. -1 scene. I was just like, wait, what? But everything else I really like. I really like the creepiness. Like, this book, I wouldn't say horror, but the creepy factor is over the roof, and it's great. If you want like a horror we read, you're going to love this. I will highly recommend this one. Thank you to Leslie for getting this book on my radar, because whoa, like whoa. Then the half book. So I wanted to read The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham, and I got a pack a while ago of the BBC adaptation, the how is it called? Drama something. But they are basically supposedly audiobooks for these books, but they are not. They are actually abridged versions, which means that it takes part of the book off, and I didn't know that. And that's probably why all the books that I have read by John Wyndham felt like really disjointed and disconnected, because they are not the unabridged version. I fucked up, because I for sure would have liked The Day of the Triffids better. So I realized that reading this, because I was listening and reading at the same time, and these adaptations basically made up like dialogue and then cut entire chapters away. and I was just like, what the hell is going on? And it's almost impossible to get the unabridged version in audio. I only found it on the Apple Store. It was fucking expensive. But yeah, I basically listened to that adaptation and then I read the parts that I missed physically, because what the hell? Like, it's not actually advertised, I believe. That is the abridged version. That's the difference between abridged and unabridged. Like, sometimes you're listening to a book and you're like, oh, this is the unabridged production of whatever. That means that they didn't cut any parts of the book. And man, I'm so mad about it. But actually, this one is not my favorite by him. I really liked it. I'm sure you have heard about this book, The Midwich Cuckoos. Basically, in Midwich, this little English village, everyone falls completely unconscious, and several months later, all the women discover that they are actually pregnant. And they have these children that are all gold-eyed, same-looking children. They are fucking terrifying. The creepiness factor also in this novel is really, really good. I actually really like the adaptation of this book. The Village of the Damned, I think it's called the movie. I'm not sure. But I like all the adaptations of this book because the source material is super creepy. Of course, some things are outdated. It's a quite of an old classic, so some things are pretty outdated. But yeah, I'm just really mad about the abridged thing. Like, why? And literally, it nowhere says that it's an abridged production. But I was just like, how is this only 2 hours long? Like, there's no fucking way. Well, yeah, it basically skims the whole story and adds unnecessary things. Like, it could have been so much better. And so, careful if you get one of those BBC adaptations of the damn John Wyndham's books, because they are all dramatized. They are dramatized. They have like sound effects and such. All the women in these books scream like hell in every single one of these authors' books, and it's fucking annoying, by the way. If you're like me and listen to audiobooks while you're trying to sleep or you're going to sleep or whatever, don't fucking listen to this, because they will get like these fucking shrieks. Like, that's not a person screaming. Like, it's awful. It's awful. It pierced my fucking ears and I was so mad. Like, I took my AirPods off. It was like, fuck it. I'm not listening to anything. Fuck this shit. But yeah, I give this one 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I just fucked up with the audiobook. So for the books that I'm currently reading, I just started Embers of War by Gareth L. Powell. And it starts up super interesting, honestly. I just kind of want to listen to more, but I have to do some things, and I really want to focus on this for now. But basically, for now, we have 3 POVs. We have the POV of the ship. We have the POV of the ship. Then we have an intelligence officer, I believe he is. And then we have the captain of the previous ship that I was talking about. And they are basically kind of a recovery group, and they are sent to recover this ship that has over 300 passengers on it, and something went wrong and they don't know what's going on and why it failed, because another ship failed previously. And for now, it's super interesting. I love that type of trope. Like, abandoned ships, like, it doesn't matter if it's ships in the space or ships in the ocean. I just love that. Like, finding wrecked ships, I love it. I love it. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. And then I need to start Invisible Planets by Kale Lou. I have already read like a couple of pages. I haven't even finished the first story, which is called The Year of the Rat. I'm excited for this, but I'm currently on a physical reading slump. Since I finished 7 Deaths of an Empire, I just want something like that, but I haven't been able to find it. Something like drives me in already, like from page 1, but I haven't found it yet. I will still look, but I really want to finish this before I start my exams. So I'll be reading this week. But yeah, those were basically all the books. If you have read any of these, please, again, if you have any recommendations for books with wrecked ships or newly found ships, something like Ghost Ship, please let me know. I love those. It doesn't matter, space or the ocean, whatever it is, I just love it. I just love that trope so much. But yeah, that's basically going to be all. So as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh yeah, I reorganized my shelves. I will show you soon, I promise.